Disembarkation Day. This is definitely our least favorite part of a Disney vacation, but we've done our best to kind of find a schedule that works for us. So here are a few screen grabs from the Navigator app the morning of disembarkation, and I'll have some comments here too about what our to-do list looks like that morning and just some things you may want to keep in mind. So you can do a sit-down breakfast at one of the main dining rooms. Your Navigator app will tell you which one you're assigned to. And if you have the main dining time, which is usually 5:45 or 6 p.m., then your breakfast time that morning will be around 6:45 a.m., which usually means a 6 a.m. wake up. So to spare ourselves from rushing, we usually get up closer to 7 or 7:30, and we just go up to the buffet. It'll be open till about 8:30 Eastern. You just need to remember to be out of your stateroom no later than 8 a.m. Eastern, so your stateroom host can start prepping staterooms for the next wave of guests that'll be boarding in, 3 hours from now. So if you aren't out of your room by 8 a.m., they will come a-knockin', so don't be that guy that stresses your very hardworking stateroom host out by lingering in the room past 8 a.m. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay there. Other things you may want to put on your to-do list for that morning is to return your kiddo's Oceaneers band if you borrowed one. So guest services will be open early, so you can return it there if you didn't return it the previous night. We own ours. We use Magic Bands, so we don't have to worry about that, but you can also borrow one if you don't want to purchase a Magic Band. You don't have to, and they will charge you, though, if you don't return it. So be sure to return that if you don't want a surprise charge on your folio. There is also the guest experience survey, which is super important to the crew. It's a big performance metric for them, so you'll hear all about that on the day before disembarkation. I won't dive too much into that here, but we actually typically do that survey the night before disembarkation. If we forget, we'll take care of it the morning of, but you just can't do the survey once you get off the ship. You need to finish that particular survey while you're on board. And we also almost always do a placeholder. This is basically Cruise Line's version of the bounce back offer that they do at Disney World. So you put $250 down per room. You can do up to 2 rooms if you have a larger family or what have you. And you get 10% off your next cruise. And the $250 gets applied to your deposit. So if you don't use it within 2 years, you get the deposit back. So there is literally no downside to doing it in my mind. The only comments I have about that are that some dates are blacked out for use of a placeholder. So like Christmas and New Year sailings, we've noticed are blacked out because we tend to sail during those times. And you also have to set sail. You have to have an embarkation day that is within 2 years of the purchase of the placeholder to the day. And they are picky about it. So we always purchase ours on the very last day of the cruise to kind of maximize that 2-year window of time, since we do tend to set sail, we tend to sail similar times each year. Then you can also review your folio. So that's where you download the itemized list of your onboard charges. It's just a little PDF download there in your app. And your charges, your onboard charges are broken down per person. It's super easy to do it from the app while you're on board the ship. If you forget to do it on board and you want to see your folio, your breakdown of charges, you can email them and get a copy later. But we always do it on board, so it's just easier. And that way my husband and I kind of know, who purchased what, since we pay for our own extras on the ship. Lastly, we always do our final photo selection on disembarkation day. Usually we kind of do this together while we're eating breakfast. This is something you definitely want to do while on the ship. You cannot purchase any photos or the photo package afterwards. There's a little warning message about that in the app, and it's just easiest to purchase it and download your photos while you're on board and connected to the ship's Wi-Fi. So we always take care of that and get all of our precious photos before disembarking. So back to our stateroom, rewind to 7 a.m. We're just getting up, kind of getting ready and packing all of our last little pieces that we left out for our carry-on. Once everything's packed up, I always do another once over throughout the room just to make sure we didn't leave any little odds and ends of stuff, because those can be a little tough to recover post-cruise. Okay, good morning from Port Canaveral. We're back. We're just getting ready to wake Peanut Butter up there and head off the ship. Disembarkation day. The vacation is over. One thing I will say quickly about this versus the Treasure does not have drawers. I'm sorry, the Wish. The Wish does not have these drawers, and we found these drawers actually really helpful. It's kind of funny how something small and organizational like that will make a difference, but we really liked this small difference versus having to kind of like stack everything in cubby shelves like this. The drawers were quite nice. Well done, Treasure. So Gio's going down to pick up our tequila from Cosmo. That's on deck 5. Sydney's getting ready. My bags are almost ready to go. Oh, disembarkation. I don't know, darling. Okay. Disembarkation day. It's always a little chaotic.
And the Disney Treasure has begun refueling operations.
Okay.
Therefore, we request for
Crafts are going into. Good thing I purchased this bag, huh, Sydney? You doing that?
Do not use stateroom verandas, and all hot work operations are now
Looking gorgeous, Queen.
Thank you for your attention.
I thought it would fit.
You did tell me that your crafts would fit in there. All the crafts from the Kids Club moms. They're coming home with you. Okay, we are officially out of 9618. Did you say goodbye?
Okay.
Goodbye, room.
Bye, bye.
Adios, casita.
No, don't say that. Nobody can talk Spanish there.
What are you doing? Are you drinking your juice? All right, here we go. Inland. We're going to go up to Marceline and have a little bite of breakfast.
We live here.
Yeah, well, close. We got a couple flights. We're going to go to Marceline and have breakfast. Papi's grabbing our tequila.
We're going to go to Washington, D.C.
We got to pick our photos, and then we're headed to the airport.
Then we're going to Washington, D.C.
Yep, and then to Omaha. Okay, off we go, little princess.
Like 4 days at Disney World, 7 days on the cruise. We're here, Washington, D.C., and then Sydney.
Omaha. Here we go.
To Mississippi.
Jinx.
Remember when you squished me in the...
Disembarkation doesn't have to be totally awful. It can be cute. We just finished our final breakfast debarkation day. We're at Marceline Market. We kind of sneaked back to a quiet area back here where there wasn't anybody. There appears to be a drink station. However, it is not active. So that's probably why nobody's back here. Anyway, we're getting all of our stuff together. We have full tummies. Our car is waiting downstairs. So, Sydney, you ready to go home?
Restaurant.
Yeah, she had a restaurant open here while I was downloading our photos from the trip. So thank you for taking good care of Puppy while I was downloading photos, sweetheart.
Okay.
All right, off we go with all of our bags to get even more bags. Okay, just showing you, Marceline's actually closed now, but they open just one half of Marceline Market for Disembarkation Day, in addition to having breakfast available in the last main dining room that you ate at. So where we ate the night before, that's where we'd eat breakfast this morning if we wanted to. But we get another 45 minutes to an hour of sleep if we eat at Marceline. So that's what we did. Okay, here we go.
Inside the terminal building, you will be required to provide a proof of citizenship for the inspection by Customs and Border Protection. Be advised that no fresh
They're kicking
fruits,
us off.
vegetables,
It's 9 a.m.
plant materials, meat, or animal products.
One nice thing about a slightly later flight, our flight's not till 12:30, so we can kind of have about as leisurely of a morning as you can have on a disembarkation day. So we probably won't wait in line very much here, if at all. And we were able to sit down and enjoy breakfast at 8:15. Even though we had early dining, normally we would have had to been in Coco to eat breakfast at 7 a.m. So, not bad. Goodbye, Grand Hall. Goodbye, Kids Club. Say goodbye to the Kids Club.
Yuck.
Okay. That's not what you were saying all week. You know Disney's serious about getting you out of somewhere when you can't even go and buy watches and diamonds from them anymore. Last chance for the bathroom before you get off the ship. Thank you. Okay, 60 seconds later, we're off. And now we go get our mini bags. We have 6 bags to pick up. Bye, Mickey. See you real soon, Disney Treasure. Okay, here's the baggage claim area and those bag tags that we got. You can kind of see they've got characters here. They've got all the bags sorted by the characters. So we need to find Mickey. We do like leveraging a porter because you kind of get through the process quicker in addition to, you know, saving your back. So that's kind of a nice perk. Always our last glimpse of the ship before we load up. We love getting help via a private car and a porter. Just makes this day so much less stressful. It's worth the extra to have some help. Just kind of soak in these last minutes calmly, make your way back to the airport. Thank you so much, gentlemen. We leverage MCO to Disney for our transportation, both to the port and then also from the port back to the Orlando airport. We always have a great experience with them, and they provide car seats, which is really handy because Sydney still needs a booster seat, and we really don't like hauling one around with us when we're only going to use it a couple of times. Go smooth sailing right now. Lolly party. We've got our lollies. Lolly fight. Makes the ride more fun, doesn't it? Lollies at 9 a.m. Why not? Let's end this vacation with a bang. There it is, the Disney bus. We are also leveraging the baggage drop-off here at Orlando. Dropping our bags off right in front, which is kind of nice too. Again, it's another tip service, so these guys aren't actually with Southwest, but they're partnered. So you give them a little tip for helping with your bag. Okay, we made it into the airport lickety-split using that bag drop-off service. We skipped a pretty long line for checking our bags, which was very much worth the $20 tip. So now we are gonna go do some shopping at Magic of Disney, get some coffee, hang out in MCO, and then we probably need to be back over here. We have pre-check, so we probably want to be back over here like 11:30 or so to make our way through security, and it's about 10 o'clock. So we've got an hour and a half to just kind of hang here. But we have a brand new niece. We're gonna go do some shopping for her at Magic of Disney, and then we'll see what we do to kill our time. But very, very smooth transfer and arrival process at MCO. So very grateful for that. I do need help understanding why a parking lot tram. I understand the monorail, that's cool. But why a parking lot tram is like, hey, it's in the toy section. That's funny. And you know what? I bet people buy it. I bet people bought a bunch of them right there. That's where they were.
This for baby Hazel.
Oh, should we get her some Crocs? Those might be a little too big for her. Success. This Magic of Disney store in the airport is actually fantastic. Like, if you have a souvenir you still need to pick up, or maybe even you saw something in the park and you're like, man, I wish I'd gotten that. They have quite a bit of stuff here, and it's all stuff that is also in the park. So we got a couple of gifts, and now we're gonna go find, oh, there he is right there. So we'll probably just hop on the train and head over to our terminal. We don't really have any business left to do here. Mission accomplished. Okay, made it through security with flying colors. Now we take the train over to our gate. And hopefully we give the airport a good rating. Oh, phew, we did. All right, we're thinking our flight leaves at 12:30 and we have a layover in DC. We won't get home till dinner time. So we're thinking we might need to grab a little, we're not really hungry. We ate a big breakfast on the ship, but might need to grab something to tide us over or take on the ship to snack on. So MCO has a few options that aren't too bad, so we'll scope it out here. There's only one sit-down restaurant in this terminal at MCO. It's called Cask and Larder. There's like a quick grab version of it too, so we're gonna grab a little bit of snack before we board our flight. One thing I do appreciate about Orlando Airport is they've got this kind of like greenhousey roof going on that lets a lot of light in. They have this fake tree in the cask and larder too. This is really not a totally unpleasant meal for airport dining. I know, it's kind of cool, huh? One other thing I'll mention about the cask and larder at MCO is they've got Barney's coffee. And the only other coffee option that I can see here is Starbucks. There's like a drip coffee option at the quick service version of cask and larders. But yeah, I just noticed that what they've got on the menu is not Starbucks. So that's kind of handy. Ugh, it's such a bummer when nobody's accepting your magic band. Okay, finished our lunch. We're on our way to our gate. It's always nice when you literally see your wagon on the transfer belt into the plane. Hello, wagon. Thank you for your service. Usually we're able to snag direct flights in and out of Orlando, but this time around, the timing of the direct flight didn't work. We would have had to stay an extra day because the direct flight home was too early. So we opted to take a flight with a layover through DCA. So it wasn't bad, but the journey home was a little bit longer than we're used to with that layover in the picture.
Just caution over there with this, trying to the ship during flight, and you can fall out.
Okay, so now that we're back home, I wanted to share a few thoughts about our first sailing on the Treasure. Some things we love, some things that we left on the to-do list for next time, and some things that we actually weren't such a fan of. So first off, we'll start with things we loved. The overall aesthetic of the ship. Every Disney ship has its own charm. I love the classic nautical feel of the first 4 ships. I also find some charm in the Princess Castle inspired theming of the Wish, but the Treasure has a very warm, rich aesthetic to it that just left me feeling cozy. I used that word a lot on the trip, and just at rest when I was in certain spaces, which was great. So particularly the Grand Hall, the Jade Cricket Cafe, there were just some like really genuinely beautiful spaces. So really loved that. Second thing, the food and beverage experiences. Disney really raised the bar for pool deck food on the Wish with the Festival of Foods area. And again, on the Treasure, of course, Festival of Foods is there also, but that Plaza de Coco restaurant, the Haunted Mansion Parlor, in particular, those two are amazing. 1923 and Palo continue to impress us as they did on the Wish, and Palo, of course, is on all the ships. I'm sure this happens on other sailings too, but that margarita cart on our days at sea was a very nice touch. So just overall a wonderful experience on the food and beverage side. Third, the Tale of Moana stage show in the Walt Disney Theater. The collaboration with native Pacific Island creators and performers was really a difference maker here. You could tell that that was a big piece of the show. So that show jumped to the very top of our list in a very competitive market of Disney stage shows. We really enjoyed that and would love to go see that show again. Fourth thing, some of the cute things that make a Disney cruise a Disney cruise. So some of the new horns, they had a song from Coco, they had a song from Haunted Mansion, that was cool. And then the special characters we've only seen on the Treasure, like the genie, those were a couple of things that popped out to us as things we really enjoyed. And lastly, for things that we loved, here's potentially a hot take. I know this is a controversial topic sometimes, and this could have just been because on a longer sailing, the adult area isn't completely packed all the time, but I actually really like the location of the adult area, the location. So there are literally never children back there. And the aft views, both while you're sailing and then also at Castaway and other ports where the ship kind of backs into the port, those views are really top notch because the adult area is on the aft of the ship. So the vibe is really quiet and peaceful, whereas on the other ships, besides the Wish, there are always kids kind of traipsing through, because if you're staying in an aft room on a high deck, sometimes going through that adult area is the most obvious way to get to the midship pools. It's really not designed very well to keep kids from having to go through there. So the other ships just aren't designed to keep the adult area quite as quiet and separate. And the location of the adult area on the Wish and Treasure, they do ensure separation from kids, which is really nice if you're kind of going for that like quiet, serene, kid-free vibe. Okay, on the flip side, things we didn't love. So kind of piggybacking on my hot take about the adults area, because of the location of the adult area, the layout is awkward. So I love the location, but I don't love the layout. There's not enough shade also, in my opinion. So the areas that are shaded can get a little crowded because everybody kind of wants to be there. I've read complaints about the infinity pool not being large enough. Those didn't really resonate with my experience, but I do wish there was a way to keep the adult area in the same location on the ship, but have it laid out more like one larger area versus kind of a skinny strip around the aft of the ship, if that makes sense. Another thing I didn't love, there are no ocean views from the spa. Again, this is, these things are not a huge deal, but if I were creating my perfect ship, I love getting ocean views from the spa during your relaxing spa day. So the rainforest room on the Wish and Treasure, in my opinion, is superior to the other 4 ships. But there are sea views from the hot tubs and the hot stone loungers on the Dream and Fantasy. And my favorite spa treatment of all time, which is called Alone Time and is available only on the Magic and the Wonder. It puts you in a little private spa villa with your own hot tub and lounger and beautiful sea views for like 2 hours. And there are no treatment options or spa experiences on the Wish and Treasure that will give you ocean views, at least that I'm aware of. Okay, third thing I didn't love, I still miss the midship elevators. So traversing the Wish and Treasure is quite simply just a little bit more difficult than the classic ships. However, once you learn the layout, it's not really that big of a deal. So again, this is not a deal breaker for us on this ship, but I do miss the midship elevators. They really make things convenient for getting around on the first 4 ships. Of course, easy for us to say that it's not a big deal because we're perfectly able-bodied and we're happy to take the stairs when the elevators are crowded. However, I could see these ships being a little bit of a challenge for folks with mobility issues or really young kids in strollers, things of that nature. And then the last thing I'll mention that I didn't love, these things are true of both the Wish and the Treasure also. It's also layout related. But the kids slide, the Slidosaurus Rex, which is really cool, but it is pretty out of the way relative to the main pool area. So on the Dream and Fantasy, for example, Sydney loved going down the Mickey slide, which is kind of in the middle of the top deck on repeat for hours. And it was handy because it was right there next to the funnel vision and the bigger pool and food stations. So especially when we were traveling with friends who have older kids, you're not really separated or spread out around the ship to accommodate the ages of the kids. On the Wish and Treasure, the little kid splash pad and the littler kid slide, the Slidosaurus Rex, are both in their own little section that is quite partitioned off from the main pool deck area. So if you have kids that span age groups, it's going to be a little tougher for everyone to hang out together than it is on the Dream and Fantasy in particular. So that was just something that we noticed. There's also not a bathroom that is super close to that little kids area with the splash pad, which kind of seems important when it comes to little kids. They often can't, if they are potty trained or potty training, they often can't hold it very long. Sydney actually had a potty emergency at one point in this area, and they actually had to let us into the concierge lounge because that was the absolute closest bathroom, or at least that's what the cast member told us. We didn't argue or fact check them, but that just seemed like an interesting layout choice given that area is clearly designed for younger children. Okay, so all of that being said, will we sail on the Treasure again? Unequivocally, yes. I cannot wait to sail on the Treasure again. Maybe on an Eastern Caribbean itinerary, especially when Sydney's a little bit older, go to those really nice beaches in the Virgin Islands. A few things that remain on my to-do list for that ship. Number one is the game in the app. It's called Uncharted Adventure on the Wish, but it's an interactive game that you play all over the ship using the Navigator app. And it's kind of the Wish class ship's version of the midship detective agency on the Dream and Fantasy. So apparently at the culmination of the game, the chandelier in the atrium does a little show for you. So that looked really cool, and that is on our to-do list for next time. Second thing is the Walking the Treasure tour. So there's a walking tour that kind of talks about the Imagineering and the design of the treasure. And I think you have to sign up for it at guest services once you get on board, but I'd really like to do that next time because, as with all things Disney, there is so much thoughtfulness and intention behind the design of that ship, so I'd love to learn more about that piece. In 7 days on the ship, we never made it to the Scat Cat Lounge, so that one remains on my list. There's a couple drinks in there that looked really cool and creative, so can't wait to give that a try next time. I would also like to spend more time in the Haunted Mansion parlor and try more of their drinks. The drinks I tried were actually not that good. They were way too sweet for me. I didn't feel like they were really trying with the taste of the drinks, to be honest. But the presentation of them was super fun. And I just generally enjoyed being in that space. So would love to go spend more time there. And then lastly, on our to-do list, the Jungle Cruise game. So we saw them playing this kind of live action, interactive Jungle Cruise game with cast members as skippers in the atrium. And I'd read about it. I knew it was happening, but it just never quite worked into our schedule with the times that it was being offered on the ship. So I think that would be fun to try next time. So there you have it. Those are our fresh off the boat thoughts on the Disney treasure. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions. I'd be happy to answer them. I know that a Disney cruise and a treasure cruise as a 7-night itinerary in particular is a pretty hefty investment for most families, and everybody wants to have the best time possible. So I'm happy to answer any questions or share more of our own experiences and thoughts if that would help you plan or make decisions for your own family around such a trip. So thanks so much for joining us on our fun and crazy 11-day Disneyland and Sea vacation. If you happen to join us for any of the other videos, I can link the full playlist to our trip in case you want to check out any of that. We have another couple of fun Disney park trips planned that are coming up, so we'll be continuing to share Disney content, and in the interim, just some general thoughts we have about different Disney Cruise Line topics, different Disney World park topics. So would love to have you subscribe to the channel if you'd like to follow us for more tips and tricks around how to have a great Disney vacation. And if you liked this video, please let me know by liking or commenting. Would love to hear from you. So thanks for joining, and until next time, happy sailing.